the groups who protested the Danish cartoons, the threats, I think that those are sort of terrible things. But I don't think the vast majority of the populations we're talking about and those who are affected by things like headscarf laws are involved in that. If they are, they're pulled in by the sense of discrimination and abjection they feel in the host countries in which they live. But more than that, I don't see how banning headscarves makes any difference in the reaction of politicized Islamic groups to something like the Danish cartoons. It seems to me that the cure being offered doesn't fit the problem that's being defined. And the cure is a kind of general Islamophobia that attaches to all Muslims, and that affects the practices of all Muslims. So I think girls in headscarves are benign. I really don't think that is the flag of Islamic terrorism or the cover for deeply felt terrorist inclinations. I do think there are issues of religious belief. There are issues of identification with a world movement that removes you from the kind of more objected ethnic, racial inferiority you feel in the country that you are, so that you can identify with something that's bigger than you and that feels more comfortable, or it gives you a kind of recognition that you otherwise feel you're not getting. So there are lots of issues involved in the choice to wear a headscarf, but I don't think wearing a headscarf or having people not wear headscarves or not wear burqas has anything to do with addressing the problem of political action, political censorship of things like the Danish cartoons. I guess I'm certainly for free expression. I think that and I was the head of the Committee on Academic Freedom and Tenure at the American Association of University Professors, so that was the hat I wore for a long time. And I certainly think free expression is what there should be. There are always tricky contexts, and the one in which the Danish cartoons somehow seem to be a horrible blow at religious belief and religious. If the Danish cartoons had been swastikas, what would the response have been on the part of Jewish community? I mean, maybe people wouldn't have threatened the lives of the cartoonists, but I think there would have been outpouring of objection on the part of members of the Jewish community about this travesty that was allowed to be expressed, even as freedom of speech is something that's recognized and allowed. The Nazi March in Skokie, Illinois, in the 1970s or 80s. I mean, civil libertarians here said that march had to be allowed to take place. But so I think one can understand there was a certain kind of insensitivity that was involved in the publication of the cartoons in a context in which this was a really volatile and explosive issue. But I think they should have been allowed to be published. I do think, though, that as I say, I don't think the editors of the paper would have allowed the publication of similar cartoons in which anti-Semitism could be the accusation rather than attacks on Muslims. No, I think that was fine. I mean, I think that and I think people are looking to sort of there were certainly threats and all of the rest of it, but I don't. I think that can be allowed. Again, I guess my test always is if we're as tolerant of what could be taken to be post-Holocaust, what are taken to be anti-Semitic gestures as anti-Muslim ones, then I think, yeah, and why not allow these characters to sort of play around and be satirical.